Yes, super combo, you lose! Hello and welcome to another NihongoGamer video. As you can see, I've got the Hori pad. This is for the Nintendo Switch and it's a wired controller. So I've got my Nintendo Switch here and I'm very keen to see how this performs because it has one really strange feature. This D-pad actually detaches from the controller so that you can return it to its 4-button state, a little bit like the blue Joy-Con here on the actual Nintendo Switch itself. So let's go ahead and open up the box. It says Hori pad on the front for Nintendo Switch. It's an official Nintendo licensed product and it costs $30. And I think this is one of the most important points. If you want a pro controller, so you want to be able to play using controls like this with the 2 analog sticks and the proper D-pad, you have to spend about $70 on the official Nintendo Pro controller, but this, the Hori version, is $30. So let's go ahead and open it out of the box. Now this actually comes out, I think, in a couple of weeks, but for some reason it came into stock early in Amazon, and I decided, why not buy it since it's in stock? Comes with this cardboard. If you're interested, there is a piece of paper. One says, be careful, go chewy. Don't need to be careful about that. And it has a little bit of instructions regarding the fact that it has turbo buttons. So actually, I probably won't throw this away because I would like to know how the turbo functions work. Not that I plan on ever using them. I don't think I've ever had a controller with turbo functions that I've ever used, except once when I was playing Mega Man X, and using turbo function you could have like a stream of bullets rather than a single bullet. Anyway, this is the controller. Just give you a nice close-up here on the front of the controller. You can see it's got the D-pad here, it's got your right analog stick, your left analog stick, you've got 4 face buttons, you've got the standard capture button, the home button, and then Hori's turbo button here. You also have the standard minus and plus buttons here. On the top says Nintendo Switch in the middle with the logo, and this on the back is quite interesting. You can see there's a place here with a little hole, and that's actually because if you take this part off, you can stick it onto the back of the controller. So let's try that. Honestly, one of the main reasons I bought this controller is actually I'm a little bit skeptical as to how well this is going to work. I'm actually worried that this... Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so this does come off. Let's just show you this first. Wow! Almost dropped it. Get a nice close look at the D-pad. It actually does have the strange sort of ball attachment here on the bottom, which allows you to rock left and right. Oh no, actually, I don't know if that's actually anything to do with it. I think that's the ball function, but really, the secondary function of that is that it clicks in here and it just stays in place. That way you don't lose it. If you're playing games that you really want to have separate 4 buttons instead of a D-pad. I can't actually think of any situations where I would want 4 buttons on the left rather than an actual D-pad. If you happen to know any games where they specify the left D-pad as 4 separate buttons, and like 4 distinctive buttons, as opposed to just using the D-pad, do let me know. I actually don't really know. I honestly don't know why I would do this. Oh, well that feels surprisingly good. It actually does feel pretty nice, and it does rock very... Oh, you can hear the clicking as well. I don't know, I'm still a little bit skeptical. Anyway, I am going to plug this in and test it in a moment, but first, let me just show you how long this cable is. About 1 meter, 2 meters, you've got about 3 meters of cable length here, so should be plenty to get from you to your TV, unless you're more than 3 meters away from your TV, which you're probably not unless you're playing on a projector. One more important thing is that this is USB-A shaped, which means it goes into the dock, not into the Switch. Do not think that you'll be able to plug this into the bottom of your Switch because it will not work apparently. It says on the box you must be plugged into the dock for this accessory to work. So this is docked only mode, not tabletop mode. This is TV mode only. Let's plug it in and see how it feels. Press LR on the controller, press A when you're ready. Alright, now I'm first player. Alright, so I'm just gonna go over to standard arcade mode. Let's put it in, sure, let's put it in hardest mode for now. Alright, Chun-Li versus Ryu. Here we go! Ouch! Already making mistakes. Oop. No! Now, obviously, R2 is working as expected. It's a bit strange using a D-pad again because I've been practicing a lot not using a D-pad. So rocking up by accident is turning out to be a bit of an issue for me. The buttons feel nice. The D-pad feels a little bit strange, I'm going to be quite honest with you. But super combos are much easier to pull off because you can just rock from the left side to the right side or from down to up, whichever, especially if you're doing charge combos. So yeah, my initial reaction is that now that I've got used to using these 4 separate buttons, I kind of rolling from down to down block and sort of normal block. It's very, very sensitive, and I'm not really used to it anymore. Hold on, this is going to take me a little bit of getting used to. No! I'm really not used to it because now I accidentally press up when I'm just trying to press back, and that's just because I'm not used to this D-pad anymore. That or this D-pad's a little bit too high. Yes! I'll tell you what, I am not used to this D-pad. This is not going well. I'm actually going to switch back to the buttons and see if it's actually easier with the separated buttons. Alright, let's try this. Okay, yeah. These buttons feel really recessed. They're like a completely different height to the buttons I was just playing with. What is the point of this? Oh dear, this feels really weird. Oh, I'm not used. Now that I've switched back, I'm having more trouble. Oh, these buttons are actually harder to use than Joy-Con. Hold on a second, pause. I'm gonna stick this back on here. No! I really don't know what to say about this D-pad. I feel like I rock up and down by accident too easily. It's just the opposite of what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be really easy to distinguish between holding back and holding down and back. But now it's like you accidentally rock from one to the other. I'm not so sure how I feel about it. Like sometimes I'm holding back and sometimes I'm blocking. I mean, sometimes I'm crouching and sometimes I'm just moving back. And I feel like I can't tell the difference. Unlike if I had an arcade stick. It's not an excuse, it's just saying. I don't know how I feel about it. It feels kind of gummy. It doesn't click as solidly as I would expect. Expect a pro D-pad to click. I actually feel like it was easier to play with the Joy-Con. Yes, super combo, you lose! Alright. That took a little while, but I finally got it. Getting used to this controller, you know, you gotta get used to the controller, and it does feel a little bit different. But the buttons it feels a little gummy, and I feel like there's no distinction between holding left and holding down and left. Can you see how it's moving? It's got a lot of give. I don't really know who this would benefit, having a separated D-pad. Which is a shame, because I was expecting that with Hori coming out with a fight stick coming out next week, I was expecting for them to have a much better performing D-pad, but apparently I was very much incorrect. Yes! Goodbye! Okay, well I think that's enough for Street Fighter for now. Let's go ahead and check out just a standard game like, how about Minecraft? Alright, I have Minecraft opened up now. I'm just going to go outside. Okay, the analog sticks work just fine, but I will say I don't like how they have way too much travel. Like you would expect to have to push this far to go all the way, but with this Hori pad you can actually go a little bit extra, and I don't like it, to be quite honest. The buttons work just fine though. Yeah, I don't like how it feels to have these analog sticks, which are kind of hyper analog sticks. They have so much travel that I feel like I have to do extra work. I have to like push extra far forward when all I want to do is just go forward. Then again, if you have been looking for a stick that has extra travel that requires you to push it further and harder in order to move forwards, then this is probably the one for you. It's not the one for me, but there it is. Alright, so there you have it. That is the Hori pad. I've got to say, I didn't like it at first, and I'm not sure how I'm going to warm to it in the future, but if you are looking for a stick that has these digital 4 buttons instead of the D-pad, and the ability to switch between both on the fly, I still cannot think of a single game that would require that, then this is the pad for you. However, I would say that I don't feel like it's not, what's the word? It doesn't feel decisive. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but I feel like when I'm pressing left, I can easily rock up and down without going anywhere near down or up. Just by pressing this one button here, I can wiggle it up and down. And I mean, I'm sure that other D-pads do that as well, but I'm not I'm not a fan of this kind of D-pad anyway, and especially not for fighting games. I need to know whether I'm crouching or whether I'm standing up. And this D-pad kind of makes that harder. It's actually easier for me on the Joy-Con because, or maybe it could just be that I'm just used to the Joy-Con, even though it's a sort of inferior way of playing in a fighting game, really. But holding down or holding back or holding down and back, it's like it's just much more clear. However, with this, it's kind of a bit mushy, and then playing in Minecraft just now, testing out the analog sticks, like these sticks travel, like I would expect them to travel this far, but they actually go a little bit further, which just means I feel like I'm pushing my fingers further than is necessary, or than would be necessary on any other analog stick, just to go forwards. So anyway, I'm not super impressed with it now, but of course I will keep using it because now it's my second controller for my Switch. I will keep trying it, and if you have a different experience with the Hori pad, do let me know in the comments. I'd like to know how other people are getting on with it. Personally, wasn't too impressed. It's built well, but it doesn't feel the way that I would like my controller to feel. That's all I have to say about that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested, don't forget, it's called the Hori pad for Nintendo Switch, and it is less than half the price of a Pro controller. I actually don't own a Pro controller, so I can't say how it compares, but less than half the price. If you want a controller to give to guests who don't know any better, this is your friend. I was gonna say this is your man. I don't know if it's a man, could be a woman. Whatever. Anyway, don't forget to comment, subscribe, share the links and all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next NihongoGamer video.